My next guest is the newest member of the UFC's middleweight roster. He's coming off a highlight reel finish last Tuesday at Dana White's Contender Series, getting that TKO victory over Gregory Rodrigues. It's Jordan Williams back here on the program. Jordan, how's it going? I imagine pretty damn good.
Hey, James, you're not lying, man. I'm feeling pretty fine right now.
Could that fight have gone any better?
No. I mean, he got to land some big shots, and I got to prove to the world that I can take a big punch from a body like that, and at the same time finish them.
You've been in a lot of fights in your career and a lot of high pressure fights too. I mean, this was your third time on Contender Series. Were you feeling the pressure at all heading into this one just because it was the third time, or was it just, were you treating it like any other fight?
Hey, it was a third time, but you got times that pressure by 10, man. Like I was telling you, it was my third swing at the plate. I got a foul ball, got a little piece of it, but it was sent in the wrong direction in his mind. He said no, I wasn't ready. Second time I took a swing at the plate and I missed. A straight up miss. The judges threw a fastball on me, and I didn't hit it. I couldn't get a piece of it. Third time I knew I had to knock it out of the park to get that contract.
Yeah, and it was well deserved to see you get this victory. Just an incredible performance. Once you had finished the fight, because I was going to say usually this is where I talk about what happened in the fight, but there really wasn't much to dissect. I mean, you went out there, you took his head off. What do where does this win rank in your career in terms of some of the wins you've had before? Because this has got to be right up there.
I mean, come on, yeah, but is that even a question? This is it. This is the win. I did it in front of Dana. By the time Bisping said it, Dana's happy right now. Look at him. And I think it's because, and he said it in an interview, he said he had respect for me. He told me he respected me because for over 2 years I stayed the course. Yeah. They rejected me one time, took some hard criticisms, just flat out said, you're not good enough. I don't like that style. Second time, I had some hard criticism from the judges, and I had to take that and really dissect myself and put myself in positions like, why did I even what led it to being in a position for the judges to take it from me in the first place? And so, and third time, and now it's just like, yeah, this is the biggest win for me. So, and it's just because those other times at the plate were there, it's a bittersweet. First more bitter, now it's more sweet now. Taste in my mouth.
And a long road, too. I don't think people realize, you were supposed to fight KB Buller as well, and then he got injured. That was a big fight for you in a main event. Kyle Stewart, you're supposed to fight him as well. I think even on this card, wasn't it Jordan Wright initially? You were supposed to fight, I think. There was a lot of change-ups for you heading into this, and then on top of that, the third time going in. Does that make the victory that much sweeter just because of all the adversity you had to go through leading into this?
Of course. I wasn't even supposed to have this victory. I mean, by the size definition in everyone's mind, and the fact that I broke my knee 3 weeks before August 11th. I was supposed to fight Jordan Wright on August 11th, and I broke my knee. I had a Balzan fracture where the tendon behind my patella, the tendon attached to the patella, detached and took a chunk of bone with it. Mm-hmm. Now, that wasn't the only thing. The doctors were mainly afraid of a potential tear in my LCL, ACL, and meniscus. That's what the orthopedic surgeon was pulling me off to the side and really talking to me about. After we got the MRI, everything cleared out. My knee healed great, fantastic, and fast, by the way. I was able to go back, and but in that meantime, they pushed the fight back with Jordan Wright to October 6th, and now I'm getting ready for that. 3 weeks before that, or a couple weeks before that, it was 4 or 5, or 5 or 6 weeks before that, I'm told that Jordan Wright gets pulled up to the UFC instead of me, mind you. And fights like Villanova and gets his UFC shot, leaving me opponentless and angry. So now, 2 weeks, my management left me in the dark for 2 weeks because they're searching for a fight. They said, hey, we're going to find you a fight ASAP. 2 weeks goes by, and along comes this text that, hey, man, have you been training? We got a 13-day notice fight September 15th against Gregory Rodrigues. He's 7-2. You want to take it? 7-2? Look him up fine, let's do it. I say yes. Then I say yes before I look him up. Then I look him up and I find out, oh my goodness, this is the Goliath looking dude, So a lot of emotions, a lot of roller coaster dips and turns on this ride. But you know what? We came out with the contract at the end.
Certainly did. What have you spoken to the UFC since then, or has your management? I mean, they must have been impressed. And you said Dana himself was so happy to see you, really pull through here and get it done. Has there been sort of any feedback on that end?
Yeah, you know what? Today I just confirmed the signing of my next fight. I have my fight is next now booked, and we are ready to go out to Abu Dhabi for October 3rd. I'm on a 17-day notice fight. I'm taking on another opponent.
Excellent. I guess the opponent isn't revealed yet, but you are fighting October 3rd. That's amazing.
Yep, October 3rd. They're like, they're getting my sizes and everything down for like which country I'm going to represent and everything as we speak right now.
So when are you leaving? This is crazy, man. That's awesome.
I don't know. I'm still giving them my passport and or my zip code information there. That like this is all like literally before we got onto this interview. My manager said, "Hey, what size are you? Should I sign a voucher agreement for you?" And I'm like, "Yes." And do I say this yet? And so you literally, this is coming, live like news like 15 minutes ago.
I appreciate it, man. That's awesome. I got to ask, was there ever a point you thought this wouldn't happen? You were working very hard. You were getting through there. And I also forgot to mention, you fought for Bellator too. I'm surprised they didn't try and snag you up. But did that ever cross your mind in this journey, or did you always feel like you'd be here?
No, there was definitely some doubts at this point in the journey. I mean, come on, man. Like, I got to be smart about it. I got to be technical. Like, there's at some point I asked my manager, "Hey, man, like, are we ever gonna get here? Do they just not like me? Do they just not want me? Is my size really that much of an issue? Is it my diabetes? You think they're just not gonna go this route?" And Bellator, I had two knockouts with them, one in the second round, one in the third, both standing. Uh, um, was the cause of me knocking them out. So I thought it was really solid performances. No interest. They didn't say. They said, "Great job, Jordan. You did a hell of a job." Gave me a pat on the back and my paycheck, and that was it.
It's crazy,
So
man. They've done that with a few fighters that have gone over to the UFC, which is kind of crazy. So no surprise there. Now, one thing I did want to talk to you about, you did weigh in at 181 pounds, and you sort of telling me off air, this was strategic. Do you want to just tell our audience a little bit about that? Because I thought that was very interesting.
yeah, you know what, man? Like I was saying before, I weigh 190 to 195 around roughly. If I'm on my not on my good diet, but you know what? Since I did cut out meat, I will weigh 185 after practice. So I weigh 185 after practice, which means I lose about 5 pounds of water weight each day, which means I walk around at 190 to 192. So what that means is that I cut weight to 181. I purposely weighed in at 181, 4 pounds underweight, so that people were like, "This guy, this is how much he weighs stopping wet, 181." I heard the commentators said, I was like, got him in my pocket. They all bit. They all fell for it. And then when I stepped into the cage, I was still 188 to 190 because, fight day is kind of hard to eat more of the day. It's kind of hard to eat heavier foods that day. You shouldn't eat that heavier foods. And I stayed to like the liquid protein drinks with some fruits and sugars and just like a light, fresh diet throughout the day. And then, of course, I had some victory tacos after and whatnot.
Well deserved, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you. But so that that was a very strategic move to come in there going at 181 because I weighed 188 at least the day of the fight.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Was that something you decided, or was that something your coaches decided? Like, what brought you to that decision?
I kind of decided last minute because we were talking. I was checking my weight on the scale, and I was like right at weight. I'm like, okay, or I was 182. So underweight, so I was like, this is the night before weigh-in. So I was like, okay, so I could just drink a lot of water and everything. It's like, or I was like, what if I just stay at this weight? So I did drink a lot of water. I re-amped up my body weight, got it back up to like 186 the morning of the fight. And then I woke up, went for a 1 mile run, spent 25 minutes in the sauna, like in that sauna rig. It's not even a full sauna. It only covers up your body and leaves your head out. And after that, I was 180. That's how quick I can lose those pounds, and it's all water. So I was like, and it was easy. I had the weight off for like 10 minutes. I got my way down the 181 in like half an hour. It stayed down there. I stayed at that weight for like 10 minutes. I got on the scale. I weighed in. Got myself back up to 188, and like it was a strategic move that didn't take any wind out of my sails. So I think it was just a last minute thing that I decided to do, and it just worked out.
How's the weight cut going to be for this fight? Because you got to travel, and it's pretty short, right? On the third, like we were mentioning, is I'm sure, like I know this is very fresh, but I'm sure you got to alter that a little bit just because when you travel, you obviously retain water.
Yeah, exactly. And there's that jet lag and everything, and so, but you know what? I feel like all those things that deal with your weight, and those are just like extra chips out of the bag. Really the biggest bag that you're eating out of is that I'm gonna go fight another human being for money on
Mhm.
TV in front of the world. Swallow that pill first, and then worry about those chips. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like I'm already gonna be on nerve street, like trying to calm my nerves. Um, with the fight. So, with all those extra things that like, that are gonna make me retain a little bit extra water and weight, like, I'm like I can still I have tricks on my bag. They're all like, like I'm a wrestler, I've been wrestling my whole life. I know how to lose weight and I know how to do it now, feeling good.
Yeah, and you have a ton of fights as well. Like it's not like you were fighting cans you were fighting tough guys in the regional scene too. So you've been preparing for all types of situations, which I think is really important. Before we end things here, and again, I appreciate the time, especially with everything going on. What was the best compliment you got after the fight? Because I'm sure a lot of fighters, maybe ones you didn't even know, probably reached out to you on social media and said, "Hey, man, good job, congratulations." Because Jordan, people have been following your career for a while. It's an incredible story. It was so cool, I think, for most to see you get that win on Tuesday.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate the love again. And so before the fight, the biggest I have to say before and after the fight, the biggest
Sure.
compliment. Because before the fight was biggest from my sponsor, Precision Farm Services, which you did hear me give them a shout out on TV after. I was like, "Yo, they promised you a knockout bonus if I put this guy to sleep." And you know what? I looked at my bank account and there's some extra money in there. So I thank you, Rafael. You're my dog, man. Thank you, Precision Farm Services and Christian. All you guys, they're a team. They're brothers. They own that company. They're a dual partnership, and I just thank them so much for believing me. He had like deep conversations. He brought me to tears, man. Just like, but like the tears that kind of make it was just all emotional. Like it just like, dude, this is your moment. Like it all makes sense now why you're here. It all makes sense now why you win. Because you scrawl and you cry and you scratch and you fall and you fight. And he just reminded me that, and like and it's different than you hearing yourself tell yourself, and you have to believe that. But when you hear someone else pull you aside and just say, and they break down really to what they've been witnessing in you, and it just really gave me that morale boost that I really needed. And after the fight, of course, it was Dana. It's just like he stood up and gave me a standing ovation, which is a compliment in itself. And then after in the in the post fight or post show interview, he says, I respect this man. He respects me, man. And like, and my coach said to me before this, like, he knows who you are. Like, think about this. Your managers are good. They give you the shot. No, not many people have been on there 3 times before. He knows who you are. When you go into that stage, he's gonna remember you. And that happened. And you know what? It turns out he did. He said, like, he comes back again. He comes back again. Like, he remembered those times that I was there and when I was rejected. And then it's for him to see me finally grab that and to see him really smile and be happy about that. I was like, okay, he's really happy. Like and like, that question you asked me earlier about, does the UFC really like me? Are they really going to give me the shot? That him smiling at that really answered my question.
Certainly did, man. Jordan, congratulations again. Such an awesome performance. Excited for your debut. October 3rd coming up here. Can't wait. Really curious to see who you're going to fight, but I'm sure we're going to find that out in the next little bit. In the meantime, man, if you got anyone you want to thank, I'm sure you do. I'll give you the floor here, and also any social media where people can get a hold of you. I'll give you the last word.
All right, thanks, my man. I want to give a big shout out to Precision Farm Services. They are an agricultural harvesting company and more in my neck of the woods, Sonoma County, Humboldt County, all that stuff. If you have grapes or vineyards and stuff, you need to get them harvested on time, get them bottled up so you can make the most money out of them. You got to hit them up, and you can DM me about that, about how to get in contact with them. Also, Julian Solano Realty, man, that guy, he's one of the top ranked realtors in our county. So that's Sonoma County. He does it all, man. If you need a house, you're trying to buy a house, please hit up my man, Julian. And thank you, Julian, again for being a part with me. ABC, Scott, making my shirts, man. This guy's been a really good friend of mine throughout the years, a really strong supporter, and just really showing me love, discounts on the shirts, prices that he gives to me. I don't know how I'm supposed to say that right now, but thank you, man. All my sparring partners, Adam, which were only 2 people. Adam the Baller Wamsley, he's a fighter, and my boy Dominic Shonuff Waters. This guy, turns out, had Anderson Silva, Jacare Souza, and whoever was up in his closet helping him out. And I only had 2 guys this whole training camp, and that was you. And I thank you guys, dude. We did it. We just took our power team and we beat their power team. And I couldn't have done it without the help of those guys. And of course, my head coaches, Jerry Herrera. He's my head boxing coach, my only boxing coach, and Dave Terrell, man, my big brother, Dave Terrell, the head coach of North California Alliance. Got to give a big shout out to that gym and my head coach for everything that you've given me through the years. It's just really blossomed into something now. And now the show is ours, baby. We can go. And again, the last person I want to thank, or group of people, is my sports management, Jason House, Jeremy Lachelle, Lance Pod, Jacob Parga, Ed Camp, all you guys. You guys all make the dream possible and visible for everyone else to see, including myself. And I just thank everyone for this vision right now.